So hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as per your respective time zone. Sanyam this side, and yeah, as we have yesterday we had a session in which we talked about SOC, right? Security management and your SOC. So something related to that, which is your SIM, also known as the heart of your SOC. We'll talk about that SIM today. Okay. So SIM solution is an all-encompassing software designed to offer organizations a centralized platform. Okay, great. It is dedicated to gathering, analyzing, and overseeing security-related data sourced from various elements within an IT infrastructure. The primary goal of a SIM system is to help organizations identify and respond to security incidents more effectively. On the SIM, like, see, uh, every organization, they keep on expanding, right? And they need expansion to keep up their business, right? So they'll be increasing their infrastructure, and which means they'll be adding more and more devices to the network. Do you agree with that fact, that every organization, right, they need to expand in order to keep up the business? And when they're expanding, they're increasing their infra, and that means they're adding more and more devices to the network. So now see, monitoring and managing these devices will become challenging for the organization, as these devices which will be adding, correct? They perform different tasks in a more of a distributed manner. So because due to the increased number of devices, the systems and your data, the the threat will be like the newly evolved attacks will also, or those threats will also increase in respect to those devices, correct? And we all know attackers are getting smarter, and the traditional tools or security tools which the organization use, they do not fulfill the current needs, correct? So managing security to the organization infrastructure has become a bit difficult task for the organization. So due to which, okay, you can say SIM are used. Okay. So in order to manage the increasing volumes of data from multiple sources, we have SIM for that: security information and event management. Clear? So why we are using SIM, you can say it help us to manage security in a more easier manner, because now what we are getting a single point view. Okay, it provides you a single point view of your organization's IT infrastructure security. Make sense? So your SIM, guys, your SIM, it helps your SOC to collect all the external and internal data from the devices, monitor, right, and analyze them. So it collect all the external and internal data from the devices, monitor them, and also analyze them. So SIM solution is, you can say, oftenly called as your heart of SOC. Basically, it helps your SOC analyst in correlating and analyzing your network security events, okay, and identify any unusual activity or suspicious activity in your organization's IT infra. Your SIM help us to determine them. Okay, so basically, when we talk about SIM, it has two things, as we call it SIEM, right? SIEM: security information management and security event management. It's a combination of two. Like if I have to break down this word SIEM, it's a combination of two: SIM and SEM. SIM means information management, security information management, whereas SEM means security event management. Security information management, security event management. Okay, these two things are there. Perfect. So SIM, when we're talking about SIM, security information management, it basically looks out for or you can say, focus on collection, as you guys have mentioned, storage, right? And analysis of log data, log and event data, you can say. So it will be like, centralization. It's kind of a centralization of your log data from various sources, like your firewalls, antivirus systems, servers, and then normalizing them and storing this data for further analysis. That is what your SIM does. So in short, if I have to break it down or tell you, so in SIM, what all things will be there? In SIM, you will be having um, data collection, as I mentioned, collection will be there. Your analysis will be there. Your repositories will be maintained, right? Reports will be created, something like this. In your SIM, security information management. Okay. So SIM, SIM, it collects, stores, analyzes, and reports the log data. Whereas if we talk about SIEM, SEM, security event management, what does it do? Real time monitoring. Shanjit, for SIM, okay. Eh, when we talk about SIM solution, SIEM, it's a combination of SIM and SEM. Okay. SIM is security information management, which means it focus on the collection, storage, and analysis of your log data. Okay. So it involves like centralization of log data from various sources. Okay. Be it like firewall, be it antivirus, be it server, anything like that. So it deals with data collection, analysis, creating repositories and reports. That is a SIM. Okay. Then when we talk about SEM, as I mentioned, it does what? It deals with real-time monitoring. It is concerned with real-time monitoring and correlation of security events. And correlation of security events. So SEM, when we say it, it will be involving, the analysis of events as they occur. Okay, they help us like SEM will be like dealing with like identifying patterns or anomalies as in these attackers that may indicate security incidents. Okay, so identify patterns and anomalies that may indicate security incidents and help us to generate the alerts. That is part of your SEM, security event management. So what all things are performed? You can say normalization is performed in SIM, correlation is performed in it, incident management is performed in it, and your real-time monitoring is also performed in it in your SIM. And your SIEM is just the combination of these two. In short, make sense now? So SIM performs real-time monitoring, correlation of events, and incident responses. Whereas if you talk about SIM, it collects, stores, analyzes, and reports your log data. Now next is like components and functionalities of a SIM. So SIM, what it does, as I mentioned before, it does log collection, log analysis, event correlation, log forensics, IT compliance, application log monitoring, object access auditing, real-time alerting, user activity monitoring, dashboard reporting, file integrity monitoring, system and device log monitoring, and log retention. You can see monitoring word is quite used over here, right? What it does, like when we talk, like basically, when we talk about SIM, the SIM solutions, they're typically divided into 4 sections. Okay, what I meant with that is some error, I guess. Okay, anyway, data collector, central engine, and your database. These 4 things are there generally in terms of SIEM. Okay. So in data, when you talk about data, it could be anything like your security devices will be included over here, like firewall, antivirus, IPS, HIPS. So organization, what do? They will be running on a large number of devices, right? Organization will run on a large number of devices with several applications installed in them. So most of the applications and the software running in them are capable of generating logs by default. So different kind of devices will generate different logs. Okay. Uh, like network devices, if we talk about like your router, switches, printers, laptops, desktop, mobile devices, etc., etc. Your security tools also will be releasing the data, like your security tools, like your firewalls. You can say HIPS. HIPS is in host intrusion prevention system, firmwares, antivirus, IDS, IPS, all of these things. Even your servers, like, they'll be having data or logs like operating system logs. Web servers will be having the logs. Mail server will be having the logs. Alright, proxy servers. So all of these things. And applications which are running, like your anti-malware applications, your internet browser, your softwares, everything, they will be also generating the data to you. So in terms of components, we do have four components typically in a SIEM environment. One is your data, another is a collector, then we have a central engine, and then database. When we are talking about collector, no, okay, collector is where it is collecting from, like an agent, you can say. We oftenly call it collector slash agents, or sometimes as connectors also. So collector is something that receives the information about the particular event which is generated by any device in the network. So the basic activity that your collector does is that it collects and normalizes the information which is obtained from the devices before forwarding it to the central engine. So there are different type of collectors which are installed. Each of them is assigned a different task. So while one collector gathers the information from network devices, and the other collector, or and you can say any agent, collects the data from servers. So information which is collected by the collector is basically the log information from servers, devices which are connected to the network through wired or wireless devices like any printer, workstation, routers, switches, firewalls, etc., etc. Clear? That is what collector does. So collector in simple format, it receives the information about the event which is generated by an organization in the network. So each collector will be assigned with a task. One will be assigned, like you can say, as I mentioned, one collector gathers the information from network devices, and the other collector or any agent over there collects the data in, you can say, from the servers. So information which is collected by the collector is basically the log information from the servers, device connected to the network through wired or wireless, uh, you know, devices like printers, workstation, routers, switches, firewalls, etc., etc. Clear? This is part of a collector, agent, and connectors. Then we have central engine. Central engine is the location where data correlation and log analysis take place. So it's a place where you'll be performing analysis, where you'll be analyzing your logs, and some correlation things will be done. Where you will be correlating two or more than two events with each other in order to make a sense out of it. Like yesterday, if you remember, we did that example that login failure more than five of same user less than 1 minute. So that is data correlation or event correlation being performed over there. Okay. So central engine is the location where the data correlation and log analysis take place. So in data correlation, it's kind of, as I mentioned, here we match some normalized log data to determine a set of related events based on the set of rules which has been created. Okay. And after that, when those logs are looked out for in your central engine, where you can have access to those logs through which you can determine what went wrong and what is going on. After that, you can do what? You can go for the database. Like database is fourth component in the SOC, you can say. Not after, like it's the fourth component. So logs, they are stored for a certain period. Okay, logs are stored for a certain period of time depending upon the retention policy. Okay, so there's a log retention policy. Okay, so in log retention, company will be keeping the data with them for amount of time which has been mentioned. So in log retention, it is the process of removing the older data which have crossed their retention period from the servers. So like, see, let's go with a very simple example first. When you have a roommate, okay, let's suppose you are living in a room and then there's a person who applied for your roommate or to be a flatmate. Now you're living with that particular person, that your roommate and flatmate. Within 1 day or 2 day, will you be able to determine what is his or her real nature? Will you be able to determine that whether that person is faking or not faking, or whether that person is genuine or not? No, right? Background checks will be nice. Okay, but we are talking about in terms of retention base. So since we cannot determine through that on a 1 day or a 2 day that how that person behaves or what is the real nature of that person, but after an year, after 1 year, let's suppose, after 1 year, can you say that okay, you will get to know, right, that person is when that person is faking, whether that person is lying, when he's honest, isn't it? So what happened for 1 year? You analyze that person, right? You're looking at that person, how he behaves, what is his nature, day-to-day activity, what is his normal behavior, and if anything goes beyond that, you'll get to know okay, something wrong is happening with him. Understanding the pattern exactly, Varsha. So similarly, when we perform the log retention, we perform the log retention for various reasons. One of them is the same thing, which help us to determine what is how our system normally function. So for example, on a day-to-day activity, on a day-to-day basis, let's suppose if your database gets 100 requests per day, on an average, let's suppose 100 requests are being sent to the database. But all of a sudden, if one fine day, instead of 100, it's 500 or 1000, don't you think it's an alarming situation? So what we did, we performed the log retention. We had the log retention to identify, to determine how our devices are behaving, how our assets are behaving, how our system is behaving, right? And in case if anything goes beyond that, it will help us to determine that okay, something suspicious is going on, right? A malicious activity is going on. That's what log retention help us to identify. Since central engine, whatever the data has been collected on different devices, right? Those can be normalized, those can be looked easily in your central engine. Okay, so correlations are done and then we try to determine what is normal and what is abnormal in our system. Database, so logs, they are stored in a certain period of time, as I mentioned, depending upon the retention policy. So in log retention, for those who don't know what log retention is, log retention simply it's a process of removing the older data which have crossed their retention period from the servers. Okay, so yeah, so I was saying log retention, it's simply the process of removing the older data which have crossed retention period from the server. So the logs which are collected from various devices are stored in your central repository or in your database. So log data collected from each devices and applications have different sizes and different importance and accessibility. So database, they are not physical devices that can be installed in a particular place. Correct. It is not a physical devices that can be stored in a particular place. So they are generally cloud storages because they are used to store huge amounts of data. Okay, so we use the cloud services or cloud storage in order to store our huge amount of data, right? So as the size of the data that are produced by the devices which are connected to the network will be in like terabytes, you can say. Physical hard drives, they are not preferred for such things because it's that big of a size. Awesome. So your log collection, which is written over here, your logs are collected. Everything falls under these four categories only. Log collection, right? Log analysis, your logs will be analyzed. Event correlation, which we have talked about before, and also log forensics. Log forensics, and basically when we talk about digital forensics, they also takes help of the logs in order to determine who was the perpetrator or who was the attacker. Okay, it helps us to get compliant also, help us to perform log monitoring specifically of your applications, right? Help us to do auditing because accounting the logs are being there. Real time alerting as in like in case if any suspicious activity is happening, it will help us to like it will monitor it and it will raise an alarm to notify everyone. So yeah, you can say your SIM system, it's very comprehensive solution which is designed to provide you can say to you a real-time analysis of security alerts which are generated by various hardware and software technologies in your IT infra. Okay. So key components as I mentioned like log collection, log normalization, analysis, log storage, retention, event correlation, alerting, notification, incident response, log forensics, IT compliance, and so on. So basically, as I mentioned, collection, like here we collect and aggregate the log data from different sources throughout the network, including your servers, firewalls, antivirus, IDS, IPS, and many more. So they gather the raw log files, I would say. So they gather raw log files and events from various devices and applications, which make sure a centralized repository for the analysis. For the analysis. Okay. Log normalization, as we have discussed before. In log normalization, we transform the raw log data from different sources into a standardized format for our easier analysis. Right. So you can say timestamp will be included, your log formats will be changed, other attributes will be included, right? And it makes it more easier to correlate events and identify the patterns. Log storage and retention, as I mentioned, it will be storing your log data more efficiently in order to help you to get compliance also. So you can include that part along with the storage. So stores log data efficiently for compliance, forensic analysis, all of these things. Perfect. So we analyze log data as well to identify potential security incidents, anomalies, and their patterns. Event correlation is done as I mentioned, correlates related events from different sources to identify complex and your sophisticated attacking patterns, right? Um, Alerting and notification. So it generates alerts and notification for any security incident, or I would say any potential security incident, right? So it will be like sending real-time alerts to security persons or any administrator who is using it based on their rules and thresholds. So you'll be sending the um, alerts to them basically and notifying them. User activity monitoring. So here we are tracking and analyzing the actions of users to detect any unauthorized or suspicious behavior. That's what you're asking, right, BS? So here we track and analyze the actions of users to detect any unauthorized or suspicious behavior. So for example, let's suppose if I take the same example, if you're in a financial organization, so in that financial institution, your SIM system may monitor user activities like fund transfer, access to sensitive customer data, or changes to account settings. Any deviation from normal behavior patterns will trigger, or that could trigger, for the further investigation. Okay, that's how your user activity monitoring is all about. I hope that makes sense now. So any visual representation, like for to see all your key security metrics and trends, whatever are going on over there, real-time graphs, charts showing you the number of security events, what are your top sources of incidents, like that. So basically everything is contained in your dashboard. And you can also create a report out of it. You can generate detailed reports on the security events or incidents, and you know what is the compliance status as well. When we are talking about SIM, okay, security information and event management, we have this as your SIEM architecture: collection, normalization, correlation, database, notification, reporting, and storage. So when we have collected logs from different devices, what has happened? That log is in a um, raw form. So raw form is like, when you're not able to understand it, it's in an unstructured format. So if you see any log, they are not separated by any um, punctuations, or no gaps are there. They are not written in a proper format. But when you normalize them, you are able to see things on a different sections, different way. Like timestamp will be included over there, the dates, the IDs will be separately mentioned. Make sense? So I mean, I know, but yeah, many people are there though. For them, the accent and everything is quite a challenge, so that's why I'm also speeding a bit low today. No other reason. Okay. So yeah, SIM architecture, as I mentioned, we have collection. We'll be collecting logs from different devices. Okay. Then what happens? Those logs which has been collected, or the data which has been collected, is in a unstructured format. Then we go for the normalization, where you normalize them. Correct? You give the structure to it in a proper format. The timestamp and everything will be included. We'll see that in the practical part. Do not worry about it. Then correlation is there and database is there. If you remember, yesterday only we discussed about it. Database in which entire logs are being stored for you. Correlation means, yes, correlation means it looks for common attributes and links events together into some kind of a meaningful bundles, we can say. Right? So this correlation technology, if we talk about, it provides the ability to perform a variety of correlation techniques to integrate different sources in order to turn data into useful information. Right? Ravind, exactly. Rules which can be created by the SOC team. Right? Validating the series of similar events occurring. A condition of events analysis. Nice. Okay. So the example which we discuss, that will be appropriate over here to be implemented. Notification, as in what it means over here with the term notification, is in SIM how it works. Um, okay, Dhriti, do you want me to repeat it? All I was saying is, in terms of correlation, nothing different. If you remember yesterday, I gave you event dot login failure and dot user, and time duration is less than 1 minute. That means different events are correlated with each other in order to make a sense out of it. If any condition is meeting that you know rule which I have made, then we will be getting a notification, or you can say we'll be getting an alert. Make sense, everyone? So we are creating rules, correlation rules, that in case if this condition is met, that means someone is performing any malicious operation. So raise an alert and notify us. Just explaining because many are saying that they didn't get it. It was explained yesterday also. Failure. So let's suppose this is a correlation rule which I have written. Correlation rule. So what is happening in this correlation rule is, this is one event which has happened. That means if login failure is greater than 3 times. So if someone is attempting, attempted wrong password more than 3 times, that is one event. And that is for the same user account, another event. And the duration which this process took is less than 2 minutes. So it means if in less than 2 minutes for the same user account, if you get more than 3 login failure attempts, raise an alert. So this is what a correlation is, correlating different events with each other to make a sense out of it. And if that condition is met, raise an alert or raise an alarm to us. So database, we can say yes, database there. Through that particular SIM solutions, you can make a report as well, whatever the findings are there, right? And things can be stored as well. I'll show you that. Okay, so these things are stored and you can create a report out of it. You can see the graphical representation of them. You can use any stats also, like you can use the statistics in this format. You can use a pie chart, Venn diagram, different ways you can uh, you know display things. You can represent and you can create a report out of it. Meanwhile, just give me a second. I will also open and show you the lab which I was talking about. In order to give you an idea that how raw logs and something looks like. So see, like things are like unstructured, like be it a header although, right? But yeah, things are like a bit not so sorted. Or if I show you this one, this is your raw log. See, so how they are written, you don't know. You have to encode sometime things in order to crack it. Every that bit of it. So raw logs, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that they are unstructured. They are not pretty much in a normal format. So you have to normalize them in order to get a proper structure out of it, and which makes them understandable. Yeah, keeping a record of it, like retentions kind of thing, which you were discussing previously. Retention, it's part of it. So cool. I'm just showing you one more thing. Just give me a second, and after that we can call out for a break. Okay. So I have opened one file. It looks like in this way, sort of. Things are there, but are they in a structured format? So the same thing. What we'll do, I'll show you same thing in the SIM solution. Okay, to give you an idea. So when it is displayed over there in the SIM solution, how it looks like, we'll see that. Okay. So next thing is need of SIM. Okay. Why do we have a requirement, or why do we need SIM basically in our organization? Okay. So rise in data breaches due to internal external threats. Attackers are smart and traditional security tools just don't suffice. Mitigate sophisticated cyber attacks. Manage the increasing volume of logs from multiple sources. Meet stringent compliance requirements. So see, we all know, like as we have discussed, the entire threat landscape is changing. It's continuously changing in a huge manner, right? And that is one of the reasons why do we require SIM specifically. It's an advanced tool, like it helps us to mature the organization and handle those kind of situations where different type of attacks are there, so that we can monitor them, we can detect them and raise an alert to our team in order to handle that particular incident as quickly as possible. Because if we are not looking or monitoring those incidents, attackers get a free way, and they can do much more exploitation, much more damage, and they'll be just clearing all the logs, and you will never be able to determine them. Correct. So this SIM basically it help us to increase the visibility into our organization's IT environment, you can say, right? So if the organization, if they're implementing SIM solutions, they can know what is happening in their network. Then the organization will be having a good visibility over their network. Okay, so this helps the organization to keep a keen view on the users actions, data they are accessing, number of login attempts which has been made, or any other such information which are regarding to the users. New application also which has been installed, what are performance of your network, how it is performing, these kind of information will be there. Will be having a visibility of these things. So if you have a good visibility over a network, then the malicious behaviors which are being performed, you can identify them, you can raise an alert which help us to observe the incidents more clearly, more closely, and more quickly. Also you can include like incident management. So if number of devices and the applications on your network are huge, right? So your log data produced by those event sources will also be like in a huge amount. Agree? So to find the malicious incident in those event is not possible by collecting them in uh, by getting them from different sources, or like by individually looking out for those sources. So what we do, we put them onto a one centralized location. So SIM performs different kind of techniques to find alert which are causing incidents. So for example, we create the correlation rule. Okay, so this will help the organization to increase their efficiency of their network. Apart from that, it helps in your forensics also. Forensics, it can be included. Okay, so SIM, these tools, they can be used at the time of forensic investigation to find the event that initiated the attack by analyzing the previous records. When some same kind of incident happens again and again, so your SIM alerts the IDS, you can say intelligent detection systems and firewalls, and makes them reconfigure the rules in order to stop the ongoing attack, and they will take the necessary actions. Naida, what does forensic means? Forensic means in order to investigate the root cause, to analyze the root cause of the incident, in order to capture or to catch the perpetrator, or as you can say the one who performed the attack. Just like a forensic in crime scene, normal crime scene, we do have forensics in digital environment as well. Everyone clear with the point for forensics? So SIM solution is also needed in forensic section. Okay, so SIM can be used in the time of a forensic investigation to find the event which has initiated the attack by analyzing your previous records. So when the same kind of incident happens again, so your SIM will be alerting the intrusion detection system as their firewalls and your firewalls, and makes them to reconfigure or set up a rule in order to stop those ongoing attack, and accordingly we'll take the necessary actions. Okay, so these kind of a defensive steps, they are used to prevent any ongoing malicious attack without the involvement of any manpower. You can automate those things. So need of SIM, you can say, to increase the visibility into organization IT environment, to detect, analyze, and prioritize also your threats against the organization, to improve your log analysis, to support your forensic investigation, to manage large volumes of logs from different sources, right? Even it helps us to support our regulatory compliance, right? And this kind of thing, even for your audit requirements. So this is what is your need of SIM, everyone. So just a quick architecture. Since we have already discussed how SIM works, it will be easy for you to get an idea through this one. So we have inputs from different places, right, from the systems. So event data will be there, right, coming from your operating systems. You can say applications, devices, databases, different events, right? Any activity. Events is any activity which has happened. And contextual data will be there, like any scans which has been performed, user information, asset information, threat intelligence. These feeds can also be integrated into SIM solutions. So data is collected from different sources, okay, and normalization is done, pretty much sorted. And correlation logic rules and data is aggregated, stored, okay, and correlation logic rules are implemented in your SIM, according to which we get the output in terms of we can perform analysis, we can create report, and we do the real-time monitoring. This is what the architecture of your SIM solutions. Clear? The feeds, you can say, the informations, like you maintain the inventory, you have different assets in the organization, those kind of a data which has some context through which you can relate. Otherwise it's just a data without context, it's kind of a raw data. Now next is to talk about the Splunk is a SIEM tool which is used. It's one of the you can say SIEM tool in Splunk. Let's get a tour of it. How Splunk works basically. Okay, fine. Search head will show you the dashboard, which will be working like a search head for you, or Splunk head. These different you can say sources, we can say sources. So in these different devices or sources, what we put some forwarders. Or what does a forwarder do is, you can say it will be sending or pushing those logs from each of the sources. Forwarders will be pushing the logs from each of the sources into one place, which is where a Splunk indexer will do what? It will be indexing all those logs. Remember yesterday we talked about indexing? Just like you have an index page in your book, right, which help us to identify which topic is on which page number. Similarly, indexing is done in your SIEM solutions as well, or in your Splunk. So once the forwarder is used to push the data or logs from different sources into an indexer, your Splunk search head will be there, which will be fetching, or you can say uh, pull those logs or those events from your indexer to analyze them, to monitor them, or to create a report out of them. Search and reporting. If you talk about search and reporting, once this see your Splunk enterprise, this dashboard looks in this way only. Like when you make any search, no, these options will be there in that particular search. So we will see that we do have your Splunk bar over there. We have application navigation bar. It shows you which current app you're using. In Splunk, we have multiple apps which can be used there. So let's suppose search and reporting is one of those apps which we are using right now. That's why it is mentioned over here. The global stats, like what to search. 3 months ago, you have done that search. The summary can be identified from data summary option. You know, this is your time variant. You can say this is search button and this is a time variant. Like last 24 hours, if you want to look out for what all activities has happened, what all logs has been happened in the last 24 hours. Mohammed Abdul Mohit, you'll be having a zoom option. There's a lens bar. You can click on it. It will help you to maximize it. Yeah. So I was saying, um, this is a time range picker. Time range picker as in you can identify like in last 24 hours what all activities, what all logs has been generated in last 5 minutes, last 10 minutes, last 1 hour, and so on. Okay, you can define it. Green button as in if you hit the green button, that means it will be starting the search. You can write your search queries over here. Okay, on this search bar. Current view, like what you are having right now, we are searching for something. Search history, whatever the searches you have made in the past, those will be recorded over here in the search history. This will be showing you those searches in one place. Okay. Then this data summary tools. If you remember this one, data summary is there, correct? Same thing is being displayed over here. So when you click on the data summary, this is what it displays. So in data summary, you'll be having host, you'll be having sources, and you'll be having source type. Host, when we talk about host, in terms of host are a unique identifier of where the events has been originated from. Okay, so host name, IP address, etc., will be part of it. Source, when we talk about name of the file, it's a stream or any other input will be part of your sources. Source type, any specific data type or data format is your source type. I'm repeating it again. Host, unique identifier of where the events originated, be it your host name, be it your IP address, anything like that. Source, name of the file, stream or any other input. Source type, the specific data type or the data format of those events. Then the last one is events tab. Events tab, like if you remember just previously, the search option was there, right? The view was search. So I told you, you write the search query in this bar. Can you see this? So error or fail is written. Error or fail, when you write error or fail, you will be getting, it's a filter. So you'll be getting only those events or those logs where any failure was there or any error was there. So like for example, any failed login attempt will be shown in this one. See, failed password for invalid user, something like this. Here, these are the selected fields. Host, source type will be displayed over here. Interesting fields are other fields which are attached to that particular logs. Okay, so this is what how it looks like, and this is the app which is selected. So this is known as a event tab. This is known as a event tab. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me switch to the uh, my lab where I can show you these things. Okay, I have this software. We just double click it to install it. So next installation I'm showing you. The username, you can give your own username over here. It's basically a very simple process, the next step in order to install Splunk and launch it. Okay, now since this is what this is your source view, I'll do one thing. These are multiple options which are there in your Splunk. Once I will upload something, then I will show you what all those options looks like. That will be giving you a better idea. So for that, I'll go to the Splunk Enterprise application. This is how your dashboard looks like. Search and reporting. Should go for that. Okay, it's a bit changed. That's fine. Mm, 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 mm. Upload data. Let's see. Add data. Skip. I see forwarder. Can you see? You have to set it up the forwarders with this so that you can catch the logs which are being sent from the different sources. Monitor to like monitor this current device. If you want to, you can use monitor. Upload just to show you that file. Upload. Select file. Now, okay. See, can you see it automatically took the source type for that file which I have uploaded, right? And now can you see these logs are a bit more sorted in a more normalized format? Let's do it. I'll show you. Once it is uploaded completely, we'll see it. Just give me a second. Constant value, host field name. Okay, cool. Host field, we can do one thing. We can write web application. Now, if I click on this, can you see things are in more structured format for us? This is one of the event which I have opened. See? So in this one, what else we do have is we have multiple options over here. Let me quickly go through that. I'll just close this one. Okay. Okay. So here, what do we have in this section, guys? Let me just quickly go through those things for you. This is, let me scroll up a bit, view full screen. There you go. Here, this guys, this is known as your apps bar. Okay, this section. So apps bar basically help us to navigate between different views in your search and reporting application. Search, we have analytics, we have data sets, we have reports, we have alerts, and we have dashboard. Okay, we have this second one, which is known as your search bar. Search bar, this one. So you specify your search criteria in these sections. Okay, just like like right now we have written this source, host, and source type. We are getting logs in respect to that only. Time range picker is this one, which I told you. This is a time range picker. So you specify the time period for the search using this one. This one is a search option, search button, search we can say, search action button we call it. So, actions that you can perform basically, it will be like, whatever the queries we have listed and the time period which you have mentioned, according to that, it will be giving you the results. This is your search action buttons. Search action buttons, these are the ones. So the action which you can perform, okay, including working with your search job, sharing, printing, exporting your search results, all of those things. We have fifth one, which is search result tab. Okay, search result tab. This is your search result tab. Okay, this is a search action buttons. This is a search result tab where you can go for the patterns, statistics, and visualization format. Those things. Okay. Search mode menu. This is a search mode menu. The smart mode which you can see over here. This is a search mode menu. So you use the search mode selector to provide a search experience that fits your needs basically. Okay. So smart mode is by default used over there. Fast and verbose is there, which gives you more in details. Timeline is this one. Okay. So a visual representation we can say, which we get. So timeline gives the visual representation of the number of events that occur at each point in time. So if you see any peaks or any kind of a valleys created over here in the timeline, it can indicate spikes in the activity or server downtime. Okay, so this gives you a visual representation of that. This section is known as a fields sidebar. Fields sidebar. So it display the list of fields which like fields discovered in the events. So fields are like grouped into selected fields and interesting fields. So like this host is also one of those fields only. So host, source, and source type has been part of your selected one. Apart from that, interested fields are also there. And this particular section is known as your event viewer. This entire thing which we are seeing right now over here. These events are being displayed over here. This is your event viewer. Save as. Can you see? We can save the query which you have written. You can save it as an alert also. So save as menu is there. So you use save as menu to save your search results as a report, as a dashboard panel, as an alert, or any event type. That is a save as. So just to give you an idea, quickly, like for example, if here I write error fail. No, okay. So what we got? We got 1902, like 1.9K around uh, events related to the search query which I have made. Can you see that? So can you see a lot of places we are writing error is written, error is there. We'll be also getting the failures as well. If I go to the next page, somewhere over here, okay, error. Here, failed, password failed. The browser details are also there. The website URL, right? HTTP, which one version is being used. 403 are your HTTP status codes. So you want to see status, you can simply click on it. So you get these status. Remember yesterday we were talking about the status. Someone asked me 200, 403, 503. So 500 are your server error. SPL and it just SPL is there. 403 is your client side. 50 is your server side. 200 means the successful results. Like if any purchase was made, um, it ended in the success. So if any transaction was done, it ended in success, and a person bought that. Okay, this is how your Splunk looks like. Anything you can see all time, you can put it all time as well. If you do not want to go for 24 hours, you can go for the all time. Abhiraj, exactly. It depends. So like if I have to, if no one asked it though, but if I have to explain this one, why I have written fail, and after that this wildcard is being used. Anyone knows that? Because if I remove it, we would have like, I will make it very specific to this word fail. But if there is any event where it is failure or it is writing failed, we won't be able to capture it, right? If I'm not using that wildcard. Number of events has been dropped. Earlier it was 1902. Now it's 1796. Exactly, Patrick. We don't care what follows fail. So in this one, if I quickly show you one thing, like how we look out for things. So if you can see, if I write buttercup will be mentioned over here. Yeah, there you go. Now see, if we look out for more things into this, categories are mentioned over there. That's fine. Source, host type, client IP, file, method, HTTP request method which is being used, get is there. You will see post as well, right? Status 200 as in successful purchase was done. Referred domain, URI path, URI query, category ID is mentioned. Okay, category ID is T. Maybe someone had bought that. So if I write something like this, equals to uh, T. Okay, ID might not be okay. Let's see. Let's give it a try first. There you go. See, for all those results where the category ID is equals to T, we are getting the only those results now, where we can get these things. Like I have collected from some places, but if you want, I can just share them. So for that, you need to connect over the LinkedIn because I need to do that personally with you guys. So I'll send it personally. Okay. So this is just to give in a tour regarding Splunk or Splunk SIM solution, how things are done, how things can be determined. Okay. So these host ID, there are a lot of things basically. This is just a fast track. That's why I'm just giving a tour about it. But this SIM solution, it has multiple options. You can look out for the stats. You can look out for the, fields, specific fields which you want to see. You can write those queries, and according to that, you can get the results. So for example, if I write something like this, status equals to 200, action equals to purchase. See, visualization you were talking about. Yes, definitely over here you can get those things.